Behind every brand, every movement, every leader, every transformation, there's a story. And intertwined in these stories is a message. And this podcast is for you, the next gen leader, coach, entrepreneur, and influencer. My name is Travis Brady, and I'm a branding mentor and sales story strategist. I hope you see me more of a guide than a host as I share the stories behind the brands, so you can take these stories, experiences, principles, and teachings and use them to share your story with the world. And we are back for another episode with the story behind the brand. I got Laura Lingner. She is the founder of Catalyst Performance Methods. That's plural because she does a lot of things financially for athletes. She works with collegiate, professional, and retiring athletes. She's been consulting for 15 years, advocating for athletes to create a financial foundation that lasts throughout a legacy. Super excited to have you on here, Laura. Are you the typical person that works with athletes financially? I mean, you're kind of in a man's world a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Oh, thank you for that awesome introduction, Travis. I am so happy to be here today. Um, no, I am not your typical person to be working in this industry. Sports in general, male dominated, and that's where I like to play,
Yeah.
just because I like to be different. I don't hold it against males or females because I think we all have the power within ourselves to be
Hmm.
successful. But it's one of those things that you just don't see a lot of women playing in the financial world and the sports world simultaneously.
You're a unicorn.
Ah, I love that. Yes.
How do you deal with all the professional athlete egos or collegiate egos?
Honestly, I laugh at them.
You laugh at
At them,
them.
yes. And it usually brings the egos down because once they see that I see them as a real person,
Hmm.
not just a paycheck or a stat line or, what else can we call them? Influencers or
Hmm.
any other things that branding world and media want to call them, their guard comes down.
Yeah.
So that's what I love. Um, yeah.
I would assume you have a strength being a woman, in my opinion, because I think being a woman, having a more softer energy might be a better way of them opening up. Is that what you have found to be true with working with athletes?
Yes. A lot of them, a lot of athletes, they want to tease because they don't originally see me as an athlete first, you know.
Hmm.
Um, just an example, I'll leave names out, but I was at a photo shoot once with a basketball player, and he was told to spin the ball and to just dribble and just kind of play, shoot around. And then all of a sudden, there is a ball coming right at me. So at this photo shoot, we are just tossing this ball back and forth. Never in a million years would have I thought that I was going to be part of this photo shoot when I'm supposed to be behind the scenes. So
Yeah.
yeah, after that, the conversation just flowed.
Yeah.
So he was able to open up more and it loosens people up.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. So fill in the gaps. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into what you're doing today. What's your story?
So right out of college, well, during college even, I was working in the sports television industry. So I was moving my way up the ladder from the very, very bottom to producer level. So at that time, through that part of my career, I was getting to know the athletes and getting to know them behind the scenes and getting to know them one on one. As this was progressing, I wasn't your typical fangirl either. So that's one of the things that I like to really highlight is I'm not the fangirl. I wasn't trying to be in their circle by or, you know, part of their entourage, like a lot of people perceive. There's a
Hmm.
lot of perceptions in the sports world, and
Hmm.
I managed to stay out of every single one of them. So, sorry. Aside
So
from that,
when you say perception, what do you mean by that? Like, what are some of the common perceptions that you feel like are going around?
common perceptions would be you're sleeping with you're sleeping with the athletes,
Hmm.
or you're sleeping your way to the top, which
Hmm.
not happening
Yeah.
whatsoever. Um, and I don't even know if I should mention that, but that is
I mean, now that you mention it, I was like, yeah, that probably is a common perception.
it is,
Hmm.
especially from a female point of view, because if you don't, if you're climbing the ladder, that means you're doing something along those lines, and that is not the case.
Hmm.
Women can can climb the ladder without doing those things.
Hmm.
And you can have a successful business, male, female, and not have to do those things as well. Um, do I understand it? Yes. Do I agree with it? No. So,
Hmm.
that being said, I forget the question.
So yeah, getting your background. How did you get in? How did you get into this financy? What sports
Yeah.
did you play growing up?
I started my sports career as a competitive dancer.
Okay.
And from there, it progressed into gymnastics and swimming. And eventually, I landed at golf. And
Golf.
golf took me through college.
Nice.
And after college, I got into triathlons. And that's where I was training with a lot of the athletes that I was working with for television at the same time. So their training regimens were triathlons. So I said, well, if it's good for you, it's good for me. Let's do that. Um, yeah. And so then from there, it um, progressed just into to all kinds of sports, and I love them all. But as far as the career, it went from television production and sports in that area to business consulting and traveling the world still, helping small businesses become successful and really looking at their finances and peeling back the onion of their business.
Hmm.
And then progressing into the financial services area where I'm able to really advocate for my loves of athletics and small businesses and teach them how to be financially sound.
Love it. So with I want to talk about why athletes go broke. We think that as these professional athletes are making all this money, they should be set for life, but yet you hear all the time in the news that they're going broke. You heard about Mike Tyson. You recently just heard about Antonio Brown the other day, which we were talking off air. I was like, I'm not surprised one damn bit. I also heard he's wanted for attempted murder. Did you hear that?
I have.
I was like, man, that dude's life just fell apart. But more importantly, I think it just revealed who he really was. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of a hater when it comes to him because he threw my boy Tom Brady under the bus, you know? So I was like, man, Tom Brady stuck his neck out for you even after you ran off the field.
Yep.
Even after you ran off the field, he said we should have more sympathy and empathy for Antonio Brown. And after he said that, I was just like, wow, that was such a leadership. That was such a great example of leadership, you know,
Hmm.
in my eyes for him to say that because I was so upset for him because he got him on the Patriots and then he got him on Buccaneers and then for him to do that because he wasn't getting the ball thrown to him, you know, that was just ridiculous. So
Right. Oh, there's so many avenues I could take with several of those comments.
yeah,
I'm going to tackle the athletes going broke first.
yeah,
Um, it's it's listening to TikTok and it's listening to people who don't understand what finances are. Um, Financial literacy really is not taught, and it's not taught from a foundational level. So when athletes are, thrown these very large contracts that could set them up for life,
hmm,
they wind up going and spending every single dollar as soon as they get it. And
hmm,
it's fun. I'm not gonna lie, it is fun to go have a shopping spree. It is fun to throw parties. It is fun to take care of everyone you love and care about.
hmm,
There is also a very strategic way that that can happen.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying don't go and do that. I'm saying do it with smarts
Yeah.
and a strategy and somebody you trust.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
How many of these athletes are actually going to people and getting set up to receive financial help from someone like yourself?
it depends on them and their agent. Some agents supply a financial partner or a wealth development partner, such as myself. Some of them take care of it themselves. Like some agents are licensed in that area, and then some people listen to the self-help books, the self-help podcasts, the self-help TikToks, and they think they can manage it all by themselves. Kudos to you if you think you can do that, but it is always good to have a professional in your corner. Um, I would say probably about 50%, if not more, do not have the licensed holistic help that they should have in order
Interesting.
to create success.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Nil really changed everything. Um, when did that go live? Like 2021 is
Hmm.
when it went live. I think it should have been that way from the beginning. I think these universities were banking off that, and it's unfortunate that a lot of people. I mean, it's unfortunate that. I guess it's however you want to look for it. You look at. Did you watch the Johnny Manziel documentary?
I haven't.
You haven't watched
It's
the
on my watch
Johnny
list.
Manziel documentary?
It's on my
That's
watch
that's on
list.
your list,
Yes.
sister. And because he talks about that and some of the things he was doing to make money, behind the scenes. And I was
Hmm.
like, it's basically in a way being a slave to these universities because like, if you go to college, you can make money doing anything you want. But as soon as you sign your name to receive scholarship money, you're immediately cut off. So I just think it was
Right.
really unfair for the athletes. But now it's like the wild, wild west. And they're trying to, like, where do you see that whole thing going with nil? Like, are they going to start creating salary caps like they were in the NFL, or what do you see happening?
I see a lot of chaos for a few more years, but I also feel like there's going to be more compliance that will come down with that.
Yeah.
Um, I agree with you. I think it should have been done a long time ago. Uh, and I can athlete for myself. I had to choose between playing golf for school or going and getting a part-time job.
Mm.
So,
Because I used to work as a strength and conditioning coach. I don't know if you can see the little University of
mhm,
Utah football there. Ron McBride, he's a legend with the University of Utah. He put University of Utah on the map. He came and spoke at some foundation events we did for young athletes and everything. But I've been up there and just realizing how much work these kids put in. I'm just like, how could you even have even a part-time job? You're going to school. These are full-time jobs. They're not just during football season or golf season. You're year round. I actually worked with a golf team a lot as a strength and conditioning coach. They work out 3 days a week in the gym.
mhm,
So it was just crazy how these kids could even survive, off
yeah,
what they're given. So yeah, I don't think people quite understand, how hard that would be as an
it's a
athlete.
job.
Yeah.
It is a job in itself because you
Yeah.
still have to maintain your school credibility.
Yeah.
I don't think that's nearly as high as it was when you or I were going through school, but still, you still have to maintain your school.
Hmm.
But yeah, I I think NIL is going to be the game changer. It is the game changer right now. But I think people need to realize that without people like Reggie Bush, who got his Heisman back, and without Michael Jordan and his mother, who really set the bar for name, image, likeness,
Hmm.
then like we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
Hmm.
And I only bring up Reggie because his Heisman was like an amazing feat. You
Yeah.
can only one person can get that
Hmm.
through per year. Uh, So,
Yeah, he had such an incredible season too. I mean, go back and watch his highlights. It's just incredible what that
hmm
dude did.
yeah. So I think there's a lot to come for the NIL. I think schools, there's going to be a lot of pushback on what I'm about to say. I think schools need to get out of the way. Um, they're not allowing a lot of people to come in to educate these athletes right now. What is happening is if I reach out to a school to say, hey, this is what I do, I educate these young athletes. They
Hmm.
say, great, we want you to buy a 7,000 or above sponsorship to even allow us to think about you coming in to educate.
Oh, so they're making you pay to get in front of these athletes.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting.
So that's it's it's a thorn in my side because educating these athletes about money is a no-brainer. I'm
Hmm.
not trying to go in and, profit off of them by any means. I'm trying to help them succeed.
Hmm.
And I realize colleges want the same thing for their students, but then we need to start having a whole educational platform about personal finance and
Yeah.
how that is.
Yeah. So obviously the thing that they're doing is they are blowing their money. They get this money they don't know what to do with, right? What are some of the first things that these athletes should be doing when they get this money? Like when you're sitting down with an athlete, like what's the first thing you're going over with them?
First thing we're going over is the budget. How much money does a person, whether it is an athlete or you or I, how
Hmm.
much money do you need every month to get by?
Well, he needs his two chains. He needs his watches. He needs
Right,
two cars.
right. And how many parties are you throwing on top of that? Yeah. But we'd sit down and just create a budget. From there, we'd say, okay, what do you want in life? Do you want three houses? You want a house on every coast? Do you want to be able to buy four or five chains a year? It's it's creating what the goals are and being
Hmm.
realistic about, okay, this is my fun money. This is
Hmm.
the money I need to get by. And this is the money I'm going to set aside so that I'm not in the headlines to be a broke athlete.
Yeah. Yeah. How embarrassing would that be?
Right.
But I feel like it's self-created, it's self-sabotage, and how I would define self-sabotage is not facing a dark shadow in yourself. And so when we don't face these shadows within us, they show up in the world, and the same problem will keep showing up until you solve the problem, right?
Exactly.
And so, and that's the biggest thing, why do you keep having the same problem? It means we haven't solved the problem, and
Right.
it's easy. It's so easy to do, and the best metaphor I can give to it's like dieting. You could always eat more than you burn, always. It's always easier to eat more than burn. And the same thing, what is, it's always easier to spend money than make money, right? And so, yeah, it's about being disciplined. And I think with these athletes, they need someone to be held accountable. You know what I mean?
hmm
And I think a lot of egos, and I definitely went through this period in time like, oh, I don't need to be held accountable. I can hold myself accountable. You know how hard it is to hold yourself accountable? It's not easy, right? And
Yeah.
so I went through this period where I didn't want to be held accountable, and I watched the results in an unfavorable way show up in my life, and I realized not only do I want to be held accountable, I need to be held accountable, and I have to ask people around me to hold me accountable, and I really appreciate that.
hmm
And I tell my team, hey, if this isn't done, you need to get on my ass right now. You need to get on my ass right now to get this done, because I'm going to be on your ass if you don't get this done. So
hmm
it needs to be both ways. So, and that's the benefit of working with someone like you, is you're going to hold them accountable to their goals. And it sounds like really you're working around what's important to them and defining like a really good game plan. And you said that you know, I was saying earlier, it's methods. What are some of the common methods, some of the top 3 methods you're starting to utilize with these athletes financially?
I'm going to be very vague
Sure.
in all of my answers just because of licensing and compliance reasons.
Sure. Those licensing and those fucking things are so annoying. I work with clients all the time on that.
Hmm.
And this is like side note, like, you know, from a branding perspective, we just lean really hard into the brand, you know, because at the end of the day, they have to trust Laura, they have to know Laura, they have to love Laura. So I understand you have to be careful. But yeah, tell us a little bit about what are those first 3 steps or first things. So set a vision, have goals. What are some of the other
So,
products and things that you're going to?
so products are all going to be individually hand selected.
Hmm.
I am not a cookie cutter planner by any means. So whether it will be a retirement plan that you're setting up for yourself, whether it's in the investing world for like the stock market, or
Hmm.
whether it's in the life insurance protection area. These are all avenues that just build wealth for people. And depending on the individual's goals, that's how we decide which of the avenue is best.
Hmm.
So it could be a combination of all 3. It could be a combination of 12 different things as well. It's just very tailored to each and every person. So
Sure.
what's good for me is probably not going to be good for you because you're on a different path than I am.
Hmm.
So, and it's also different for somebody who is in their 20s versus somebody who is in their 50s. It's widely different, and the availability of different products and services in this wealth building world allows you, client, me, all of us to tailor a custom strategy. Just
Hmm.
like just like when you're doing your training, when you're training the athletes. Not all the athletes can be trained the same, right?
Yeah, it depends on position. I mean, there's going to be some core foundational things, right? But they're going to be a little bit different.
Yeah. And that's where I like to come back to my sports psychology training as well
Mhm.
and say money, mindset, momentum. You have the money. Let's get the mindset around it right. And then let's watch you take off with that momentum.
Love it. How can athletes follow you or get a hold of you if they want to learn more about your journey and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I don't even know if these athletes are on LinkedIn anymore. And
Yeah,
that'll
I would
be
assume not.
Laura Lingner. Or they can reach out to me at my email address, and I can give you that as well. Or they can reach out to me on Instagram at Catalyst Performance Methods. Um, I'm pretty much everywhere on the social media, so you can find me one way or another. But yeah,
Cool.
I don't know if that's the
Hey,
best answer, but yeah.
yeah, good. Well, hey, good to have you on the podcast today. If you're listening right now, I'm sure you know someone that could benefit from this podcast. Please share it. Okay. Be inspired in what you're doing. You have a story to share with the world. Okay. Get it out there. Good talk.
Hey, you know you have a story to share with the world, which means you need to get on more life stages. We have a jam-packed schedule in 2024 full of events, including our biggest event year to date, Brand X. Go to benextgen.com/speak. Again, benextgen.com/speak. Or you could just click the link in the description. Fill out an application, our team will reach out to you and show you how our speaker partnership works. Get on a stage, get video, blow up your brand, blow up your business. Let's go.